And when Jim from Jim's Mowing gets irritated, you certainly know about it. The franchise king appeared again on the Nine Network's Today Show talking about how the Victorian government's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic has been terrible. Jim didn't mince words when he said the Premier Dan Andrews has blood on his hands. Carl Stefanovic put to the Mowing man that comment was incredibly provocative, but he didn't back down.
Well, it's true, because our industry is no threat to public health at all. A lone operator working alone in a garden is no threat to health. But when you throw tens of thousands of people out of work without need, you talk about mental health issues, suicide, drug addiction, child abuse, domestic violence, and the rest. There's a lot of really, really grim things. I know there's independent operators out there who are on suicide watch because of this. So yes, people will die as a result of the Premier's actions.
Again, there was more fire in the two-stroke when Jim Penman unequivocally called for Dan Andrews to resign.
No matter what you all say, no matter how much business rallies, and the rallying calls are from every street corner right now, the Victorian government doesn't listen to business.
No, absolutely does not listen. Look, I have asked some very simple questions to the Premier again and again. Why did you change your own regulations, your own expert advice that sole operators could operate safely? Why did you change that? How come council operators can work in groups when our people can't alone? The Premier has flatly refused even to answer the simplest questions. This idea that he consults with business is ludicrous. It's a joke.
Do you think he should stand aside?
Oh, absolutely he should. He really should. He is an utter incompetent. He has stuffed the quarantine. He's stuffing the contact tracing. He's stuffing the testing. The only thing he's good at is trashing the Victorian economy, especially industries like mine, which are no threat to public health. He should absolutely step down. He should be tossed out by his own party.
Wow, you are not...
Wow, Joe, is this selfish? Is it helpful? What do you make of this?
Look, I think it's always the easiest position that you can take in a time of crisis is the pile-on. And to be perfectly honest, I don't think anyone in those situations is actually actively going out there to try and ruin people's lives. So, you know, the other part of that interview was Carl talking about the numbers coming down. And yes, there is some angst for plenty of operators when you think, okay, at the moment in Victoria in construction, you can have 5 people working on a new build, or you can have people working on a build where there's a separate, you know, bathroom and washing facility. So then you question why people can't get out and garden if it is in, you know, following all the protocols that everyone else is. But I don't think it's helpful when you're just constantly piling on someone who is actually trying to look after the health of more than just one sector and one group of people.
Well, that's the point. Dan Andrews said on 7:30 last night he couldn't care less about politics. Leadership at a time like this is about doing what's right, not what's popular. Robbo, I want to bring this to your attention. Do you know Jim Penman's name isn't actually Jim? His name is David Penman. Do you know?
Well, it's a fantastic name.
Do you know that he fired his own sister? They no longer speak. She fired him. The quotes in an article from the SMH on March 1, 2019 say there's always a revolving door at the National Office, and when it comes to business, he's ruthless. Is this just him being ruthless, happy to bring down a Premier so that he gets what he wants and his business is A-OK no matter whether people die?
Yeah, I agree with Joe. It seems like a pile-on is very fashionable at the moment, and that's what he's doing. It strikes me with Jim/David/Mowing Man/ whatever.
Slash Karen.
Yes, that's right. It strikes me with him that this does seem like not actually a focus or a love for his franchisees. It's more of a focus on the fact that the franchisees won't be able to bring him in money. So I understand what he's saying. There are some valid points that he brings up in regards to business, and has there been a lot of discussion with business? You know, of course. But he just seems to be on this kind of attack on Premier Dan Andrews because he can't do the work. He did bring up an interesting point later in the interview where he said that you know, council workers working in groups were still able to go to parks and things like that. You know, that is a discrepancy, and he is a big businessman, so I guess he does get to kind of have that voice, or kind of, you know, allow that stage for him to walk out on. But it does seem pretty selfish from where he's coming from. I've also heard, this is allegedly, I can't say allegedly enough,
here we go.
allegedly, that David Jim Penn, whatever his name is, Mowing, he is not a very nice businessman. But hey.
Well, he fired his sister, so he's certainly of a certain ilk. Ben,
Oh, who
we
wouldn't
don't
have
know the
fired their
details
sister
in
in that? I would have fired my sister a million times if I worked with her.
They would have fired you. I would say that also might be a factor. But I want to quickly say something.
Sorry?
I actually don't mind people who want to come forward and challenge the Premier. I don't think that's necessarily a problem, but I really would appreciate them sticking to a sensible argument. And yes, he did bring up some validity in some of his arguments, but his general nature and his tone, it is promoting fear, and fear is leading to hate. And people like him are galvanizing these other people out there to also come online. And they're going that step further. And they're saying that Dan Andrews should be pulled out of his house and shot. So what I would like to say about these types of people is read the play. Understand what we're going through in Melbourne. You might have a valid point, but sharpen your ideas if you're going to be on national television, and be really smart about it.
It's the Ben, Rob and Robbo, Ben, Rob and Robbo.